Good morning. Hi, it's literally 7 a.m. I realized that I had to make this video right now or I would completely forget. So I just took a shower. I've been up since like 6, 5? I don't know. Here's the thing. I had a realization in the shower about like what I'm currently going through, and I want to talk to you about it. I'm just gonna sit down for this one because I'm waiting for my water to boil in my tea. So here's the thing. Oh, also, welcome to Tis and Pump YouTube, where we talk about my experiences with mental health, chronic illness, disability, and becoming a baby bodybuilder. So a lot of feelings have come up for me in the past day. And I had a thought just now in the shower about specifically. Okay, the tea brewing is very loud. That being said, have I lost it? Okay. For me is not one day at a time. And a lot of addicts will talk to you about this. And like, I think a lot in like meetings, specifically like NA, they talk about how is taking everything one day at a time. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 3 types of addiction that I'm dealing with. So the first one was, the second one was eating, and the third one is shopping. And all this is coming up for me because, so like, if you guys don't know, I'm 13 years sober. I'm over 13 years sober. I got sober the day after I turned 19. And there were lots of attempts to do that. Like, I went to rehab 4 times from ages 17 to 19. And every single time I was the one who decided to go. I put myself in there because I knew that I wasn't able, like, I was self-aware enough as a child to know that I wasn't going to be able to continue life if I did that. And at 13, I was diagnosed with and I've been kind of battling that ever since. And I realized recently that, well, not recently, but I assumed that because these like disorders, tendencies, and diseases weren't showing up the same way that they did when I was a child, that like I was healed. Same thing with OCD. Like, I really assumed years ago that my OCD was like completely gone because it was showing up very differently than when I was a child, but it just was manifesting differently as an adult. So I've been sober for quite a long time now, and I think that it all kind of happened because, well, there were lots of reasons for it happening. I mean, like, I slipped into induced psychosis and apparently was rubbing and on the walls. And I don't even know if I was taken advantage of that night. It was with this, like, I think he was like this 47-year-old man, and I was completely without, and I was like completely messed up. He told me that I was going to be the love of his life. It was so weird. He had a house. We were all partying in the house. We graffitied the entire house. His child came. There were 2 nights where this happened, but his child came the next morning because I guess he had like partial custody. And me and a high school friend were self-aware enough that a child should not be in that environment. So we took the kid out of it, brought him to Tim Hortons, and like bought him coffee and a donut. Anyway, it was one of those 2 nights where I realized, like, I had the realization. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't continue this way. And then I had put myself into rehab the first time several months later. Now, here's the thing. When I hit 19 years of age, the day after I turned 19, I ended up putting myself into Detox. And I had been waiting to get into rehab for, I think, like 8 or 10 months at that point, because I had gotten kicked out for the 3rd time from Dave Smith Youth Treatment Center. And I went into Detox, and I was there, I believe, for 4 days, from Monday till a Thursday. And usually how rehab works, like specifically at least with the rehab that I went to, which at the time was called Meadow Creek, it no longer exists, but it was in the Ottawa like mental health hospital. It was in like the psychiatric hospital in Ottawa. They usually give you like 24 hours to notify you that there's a bed available if you want to like go into rehab. And I got a call the day I got out of detox, and they told me that there would be a bed available in a week. The reason why they don't usually do this is because if you give addicts a week, right, to, okay, by the way, your life is going to change in a week, then they usually end up like consuming so many that they. So I, during that week, I hung out with the same friends, went skateboarding, was at the skate park, surrounded by people who were abusing, and was completely sober. Because I had realized at that moment that I was just done. Like, I was so done with living the life that I had been living. I'm bringing this up because I have realized in the past month or so that my spending habits are just completely destructive. And I have known this for a long time. There have been periods in my life where I've been able to address it. Like in 2022, 2023, I got a job for, I was 10 months, I was working at a graphic design place called Bellish, and I had saved like 13 grand because I didn't understand, like I was worried about taxes, but I didn't buy anything extra. Like I literally had a hair elastic that my mom brought me on vacation, and I used it for 5 months, and every time it went missing, I freaked out. Like I just didn't buy anything. I'm very black and white, and I'm very rigid in my decisions to get better. In the same way that when I decided like half a decade ago to go to the gym, it was the same kind of decision where I was like, I'm fed up. And a lot of people ask, how have you been consistent with the gym? How have you been able to stay sober? Like, how have you been able to do all these things? And it's because you're just fed up with the life that you've been living, and you're done. Like, you're just done. And I had gone to therapy about a week and a half ago, and I have a new therapist. I've had the same one for like a decade, and I just got her, and we're working on somatic therapy because I recently realized that I've been like elevating my life, and I've been doing a lot of healing on my own, but I reached out to a psychotherapist friend of mine, and I said, like, do you think that I would benefit from therapy? Because every time I go to therapy with my previous therapist, I felt like I was able to just, I don't know, as an autistic person, I feel like I'm self-aware enough to be able to solve my problems before or during therapy on my own without the help of another person. And she thought that I would benefit from somatic therapy. So I've been working with a somatic therapist practitioner. And my goal of last week was essentially to try to address and like determine why I was spending so much money. Because like manifests in different ways, right? Like, there was a period when I had started the gym, like when I was like a year and a half, maybe 2 years into the gym, where I was going to the gym 6 to 7 days a week, and I was training for 4 hours a day. No joke. Like literally absolutely insane. I could not take rest days. It was crazy. And I was just completely addicted. And I went to therapy, and we kind of tried to like figure out the reasoning behind why I do this. And I mean, my mom showed me a lot of love through purchasing things for me. Love you, Mom. I know you're watching this. This is absolutely, I love you. I've talked to you about this. But she had a boyfriend who was in prison and every weekend, like I lived week on, week off with my mom and my dad. And every weekend, like both days, we would drive to either Collins Bay Penitentiary or Millhaven to go see him. And obviously during that time, like, it's a long drive, and we'd do it both days. So we'd be hungry, we'd go out for dinner, we'd shop. And like, I think in a lot of ways, she was trying to make up for like not giving me attention by buying me things. I love you, Mom. I have a great relationship with my mom. There have been lots of things that we've both done wrong in our lifetimes, but we've worked really hard to have the relationship that we do now. That being said, I think that I purchase things to, one, show myself love, and two, because I'm fearful of not being able to have joy again. And I think that I live a life of deep pain. And I do mean that figuratively, and I also mean physically, like in the sense of chronic pain. I'm always in pain. I'm never not in pain. I live a life in pain. I'm in pain every single day of my life, physically. Also emotionally, but still. And I buy things that I think will provide comfort to me. And I think that also, like, the way that I purchase things is like as if an apocalypse is about to happen. I'm like, oh my God, but what if it goes out of stock? What if I can never get that color again? So when I buy things, I buy things like that bring me comfort, but I'll buy multiples of them. Like protein brownies. I've got like 7 boxes of them because I'm scared that they'll go out of stock and I love them so much. Same thing with like, I went to Nespresso a few weeks ago. I bought a shaker cup and I was like, oh, I need 2 more. Bought 2 more. Like, I buy extra stock of things because I'm terrified that when I buy something and it brings me so much joy, I'm scared that if it breaks, or I'm scared that if I lose it or I no longer have access to it, then I'll never experience joy again. Essentially, that's what we found out in therapy. So I realized that I wanted to work on something because I was literally cleaning out my closet like the day before therapy, and I found a Lululemon purse. And a couple Decembers ago, I had made, money, and I bought, like, I don't really buy designer stuff, but I buy lots of stuff from Lululemon because they've got a great return policy. The stuff is super comfy, whatever. And I found a purse that I really liked. So I bought 3 more in different colors and different sizes. One of them is pink. I've never used it. I was cleaning out my closet and I found it and I just thought, this excess is like insane. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And I was discussing that with my therapist, and I had just bought a gym/autism bag from Lululemon. This is embarrassing for me to talk about, but whatever. And I filled it with other stuff from Lululemon, other keychains, other little mini bags. And I had said to her, I really want one in pink and I really want one in black, but I don't need it. And I know that I don't need it, and I know I probably won't use it. So I was like, I'm not going to buy it. I get off of the call. I try to prevent myself from buying another bag. Later that night, after all, I'm just like, F it. Like, I don't have enough money for this. I don't have enough money to pay off my taxes. I don't have enough money to pay my bills. And it's just like, I'm entering into this very destructive behavior because I'm so scared and terrified that I'll never feel joy again and feel comfort. And it just sounds so stupid when I'm talking about this, but I feel like other people can relate. That's why I'm posting it. I really didn't want to talk about it because I felt like really genuinely so embarrassed by it. And in the past week, I have spent so much money that I don't have on insane purchases of stuff that I don't need. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to challenge myself for the month of May. Today's May 1st, to not buy anything extra. And yesterday I was like, okay, it's the last day. It's kind of like, okay, well, it's like the last week before I had to go into rehab. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I was like, what am I going to buy? I need to go crazy. Like, what are things that I need? And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't need anything. Like, I really don't need anything. I have everything that I need. And if it's a necessity and it comes up or it runs out, then I can purchase more. I don't need to buy so many versions of the same item because I'm fearful that I'm going to run out. So like yesterday was supposed to be my last kind of like hurrah, I was about to say shebang. I've never said that in my life, but anyway. And I just was like, no, I'm done. And it was such a freeing feeling. And I do know that things come up over time, like in from food. Like, as I had talked about, I think in my last video or the video before, like I had some very challenging times this month with eating. But in the same way, like I realized that, because in 2022, I had taken control of my spending, and throughout my life, I've taken control of how I've eaten, because I talked about eating also in the session before with my therapist. And it's like all these things, same with the where I've had moments that were really challenging. I've had moments that have been hard, but I've gotten through them and I can get through this. And I know that it sounds silly, right? To anybody who is not an but the way that I shop, the way that I consume products, the way that I consume food, the way that I consume is just not normal. And it really is so destructive. I can't find another word for it other than that. And I realized that if I wanted to be able to reach my goals in life, I would have to address this, or it was going to be so destructive that it would just completely ruin my life. Because I had thought about money that I've made over the years and how I just don't have any. And it's because I've just bought so much stuff. And it like really does add up over time. And I woke up this morning and I felt so free, and I just felt like I was done. And the reason why I'm making this video is because my therapist had brought up how with like it's one day at a time, and she said within like you probably had lots of instances where, you relapse and then you tried again, you relapse, you tried again. And while that is true, right? From ages 17 to 19, like, yes, I did. When the day after I turned 19 and I went into detox, it was at that moment that I just said, I'm done. And I realized that I was done. And I had the opportunity so many times in the past 13 years, so many times that week after when I was waiting to get into rehab, where I could have consumed, but I didn't because I was just done. And I had that kind of same feeling yesterday where I just felt done. Like, I was so tired of having this insane rush when purchasing or on the way to purchase things, where I was just like, I'm just done. I have no use for this now. It's a period in my life that I've just kind of decided is going to be over, because if I give myself that one day at a time, if I don't have that rigidity, then it basically gives me the excuse to continue poor behavior under the guise of, well, it's just one day at a time. You know, what's one more time gonna hurt? And it's like, if I had that mindset toward, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'd be 6 feet in the ground, because I can't do normal things. I can't consume things normally, whether it's shopping, whether it's food. And with food specifically, you know, a lot of people who are in like me find tracking to be very detrimental to their. For me specifically, I find tracking to be extremely helpful. It depends person to person, right? So like somebody watching this video, like that kind of rigidity is something that's not going to work for them. They need to allow themselves grace. They need to allow themselves to up. But I've been up my entire life in regards to consuming, like with shopping, with food, with, well, because I haven't really been up for the last 13 years. But I just realized that rigidity and rules for me, I think specifically as an autistic person, is something that's going to benefit me in this situation. But I just wanted to make this video because even though it's like, to me, it's so embarrassing in the way that it's so embarrassing but I have to tell somebody when I shop, I have to tell somebody. Every single time that I buy something, I call my mom immediately because I want her to validate my purchases. And I'm just done. And I feel so free. Like I understand that in order to live, right, you need to consume things, you need to purchase things, you need to consume food. You have to have food in your house, in the same way that I talked about in previous videos, where I find that overcoming with food, right, with purchasing things, with shopping, it's not that it's harder, but it's a different kind of hard than, because with the majority of the time, specifically with what I was consuming, I didn't have to have that in my house. Like, I could completely eliminate it from my life. I could completely eliminate the people from my life that were also doing it, that would bring it around, right? But with food and with purchasing things, you can't completely eliminate that, right? Because you need food to survive. You need to purchase food to be able to survive. But I think that if I apply the same kind of rigidity that I do with consuming food, with in the same way with shopping, that I'll be able to get through this. And again, I do understand how stupid this sounds, how privileged it sounds, but I'm spending so much money that I do not have, putting myself in debt to be able to buy things, and it really is ruining my life. I've thought about making this video, like I had thought about this video specifically just now in the shower this morning, but I had considered making a video talking about shopping, and I just didn't want to do that. There are a lot of things that I keep private because there are parts of my life that I feel like I need to be private for my own sanity. But I did want to make this video because I did think that it would be helpful to other people. Like, I think that we live in a society where overconsumption is glamorized, and I just am so tired and I'm so done with it. And I just want to enable myself to have the future that I want. Like, when I consume in excess for a very brief moment, in the same way with or in the same way with food, it can leave me feeling euphoric, it can leave me feeling happy, it can bring me joy, but it's for such a brief moment, and then all I do is feel embarrassment and shame. And then in the same cycles of it, the same with food, the same with shopping, I feel shame and then I need to feel joy again. And it's this sick, like cycle of destructive patterns where I consume, I feel shame, I feel hopelessness, I want to feel joy, so I consume again. And I'm just done with it. I made this video for 2 reasons, because 1, I want to be accountable, and 2, because I think that it's possibly, potentially, maybe beneficial to other people to hear about this. So I don't know, that's just the video. I don't know why, but I feel really embarrassed to make this, and I feel really embarrassed to talk about it. But I think that the first step in overcoming cycles of is to try your best to remove the shame from it. And I don't need to feel shame anymore. It is just holding me back. It's holding me back from becoming the person that I want to be. And if I continue with shame spiraling, then what am I going to do? I'm going to seek previous patterns of comfort, right? And I was feeling like such yesterday because I had just kind of decided that I was done with it, and I felt very dysregulated because the way that I normally seek comfort and joy is in purchasing things. And I understood that it would be very uncomfortable in the same way that trying to deal with, and it just was also very uncomfortable, and it's challenging. And yes, like for some people, maybe it is one day at a time, but for me, it's a lifetime decision. It's kind of the same with going to the gym, where if you want to better your life and improve and be the healthiest version of yourself, to me, in my mind, in my brain, it's a decision that I've decided to make for life. There are moments, obviously, when it will be challenging. There are moments, obviously, when I will need things, when I will purchase things, when I will make decisions that are more regulated and not based in fear of not having joy. But I think that I'm going to be now in the future consuming things a lot more ethically. And I don't mean ethically in regards to sourcing them. I'm talking about this specifically because, I frequently use Amazon. As a disabled person, I really enjoy Amazon. I've talked about this, I think, in my previous scrapbooking video, how, I've gotten a lot of flack. Is that synonymous with hate from other people? I don't know, whatever. Basically just about using the services of Amazon. But listen, I kept almost passing out in the shower. So what did I do? I ordered a shower chair from Amazon. It arrived literally the next day. So anyway, I mean ethical consumption in regards to, do I need 10 versions of this? Am I purchasing this to feel joy, or am I purchasing this to fill a void in my life, or am I purchasing this because it's actually a necessity? Like I need it, And there are things that I've kind of outlined in my brain in the same way of sobriety, of like rules that I have for myself to follow to ensure that I'm set up for success. This is such a it seems like a silly goose video, but I think it is important to talk about. Listen, gambling, eating, shopping, these things ruin people's lives. And I've just decided that yesterday I was going to take control. I had my one day of before May 1st to purchase anything that I really needed before my, 1 month of not purchasing things. But I just decided I'm done. I'm done with it. And I made this video to be accountable, to help people feel not alone if they're also kind of experiencing the same sort of thing. But yeah, I just feel like for me, it's just not one day at a time. It needs to be like a lifelong decision if I want the hope of being in and living life in the way that it's meant to be lived by me. So yeah, anyway, that's the vlog. And excuse me, today's going to be challenging. I, once again, have not been to the gym in a week. Before that, I had not gone to the gym in 10 days, just because I've been in so much pain. And I think whenever I have time off from the gym, I'm so fearful of going back. I'm like, I don't know why. It's like, I know how to do these exercises. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But I just get scared. I get scared when I haven't done things for a few days, and I get scared of the labor of it. I also want to make today, a content day. But anyway, I'm going to do my regular morning routine. The tea is steeping. I'm going to be writing in my journals. I actually last night, so funny, I specifically started a journal for to be able to kind of keep track of how I'm feeling. This is the first page that I wrote on it. This is the second page. It's so funny. You definitely I doubt that you can read my penmanship. But anyway, I have this, and then every morning, this is overconsumption, but it helps me keep track of my life. So this is basically the journal where I write my progress in regards to my reverse, the date, money that I'm making, my intentions for the day, like basically a to-do list, and any kind of stuff that if I need to kind of talk about, it's in here. And then I have a gratitude journal, I know, whatever, but you know what? Journaling has personally helped me. And then I am starting to basically do another task list. Like, I have intentions, but I find that I just wanted more of a history of like daily tasks, of weekly tasks, of monthly tasks that I can physically check off. So it's like a little calendar. And then I also have my scrapbook here, which is huge. I literally bought 4 of them the other day because I was scared that they were going to run out and I'd never be able to purchase them again. Anyway, I have enough scrapbooking supplies to last me for probably the next 2 years. Not enough of these. This will last me for the next 4 months. But anyway, I will purchase more out of necessity if I run out and when. Anyway, so that's it. We're going to do the morning routine. Me, that hurt. I just hit myself in the head. It's going to be fine. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end of this video and you liked it, you could like, share, comment, and subscribe. You really don't need to though. But if you did not like this video, super weird of you to watch it all the way to the end if you didn't like it, but that's okay. It's giving fan behavior. Sorry, I think it's giving AAVE. Yep. Okay. So we're just going to try to remove that from our vocabulary. Pretty easy. You are showcasing fan behavior. Whatever. Yeah, if you didn't like this video, send it to somebody that you don't like in order to spite them. Could be an ex, could be a cousin, could be an aunt, could be a parent, a coworker. And that's it. YouTube done. Yeah, brother. Hope you guys have a good day. Okay, bye.